Sue, it's such a joy to have you with us today. I remember so vividly the first time that we met at the Transformational Leadership Council meeting. On that first day, it was my very first meeting, and just how deeply connected to you in heart, in love, in energy I felt from that moment. And yes, we then had that great joy of being together in Rishikesh, India, when you came with a beautiful group, and we celebrated and sang and danced on the banks of the Ganga River in Rishikesh. And it was such a joy. And I want to just thank you and give you such gratitude and let everyone know what wonderful work you are doing, leading people to truly find that deepest, highest, freest energy within themselves, to exude that, to embody that, to live as that. So thank you so much for all you're doing in the world. And here today, as Marcy and Pete explained so beautifully, we are talking about freedom. And I know for you that this hasn't always been how you are. And if you could share with us a time in your life when you didn't feel free, when you felt stuck, what that was like and how you activated the energy and found freedom.
Absolutely. Wow. Yes, definitely didn't start out my life the way my life has turned out. And I'm eternally grateful for that. Just to give everyone an example, I slept on the floor of my closet when I was growing up because I was so intimidated about life. I was so convinced that I was not safe and that things were not okay and that there was something wrong, et cetera. And while I was spending all my time trying to figure out what that was, at night, I just wanted to crawl under something and basically hide. I only had to look one direction out of my closet in order to feel safe because I could see anything coming. And through school, I was very intimidated and quiet and became a real student, a real very studious person that was trying to just do it right. And I became perfectionistic in an effort to manage my life. If I could have everything go just as I could plan it, then I would feel this sense of safety. But of course, that generates a real sense of misery because it's as far from freedom as one can get when you're trying to control your entire external environment, which isn't the way life can actually unfold. And so even in the midst of my perfectionism and my efforts, I went to school and became a doctor and came out of school and set up my clinic, and always, again, trying to follow all the rules so that I could be a good person, and always trying to be a good citizen and be a good doctor and be a good daughter and a good sister and a good friend and a good partner. And all that stuff that's just completely exhausting to us if we continue to live in this externalized version of who we are. And as a result of all of that efforting, I began to get migraine headaches to the degree that I was missing work. I was missing my clinical hours with patients. And when I wasn't having migraine headaches, I could go to work and I could help other people with their migraines, but I couldn't tap my own because I was externalized with my orientation, with my come from. What I thought we had to do to be okay in this world was to fit in, was to connect. And if I could make my environment work, then I felt like it could work for me. And so in an attempt to serve my headaches and my stress levels that I was creating for myself, I sought out meditation. And in the middle of meditation practices, I instantly started having these transcendental, transformational experiences that changed my reality, changed who I thought we were and what was happening here. And I lit up, I woke up. And so in the midst of that, I devoted the next 10 years of my life to figuring out how to recreate that and how to reproduce it, and so that I could return to these high exalted states of consciousness on command. The problem was there was a great freedom in that, but I still hadn't adapted to how I worked in the outer world. So now I was stuck in this additional strain and effort of, now I knew something on the inside, and my professional colleagues were not walking this path at all. So now I was going to have to make another decision for myself, which was ultimately a decision that liberated me beyond any scope of freedom that I had ever imagined, which was to allow myself to pursue this deep awakening that I had encountered, rather than continue to try to please the parameters of my profession, which was, how I made my living. It was a very big risk. It was very intimidating. But ultimately, in the effort to do so, I found how to embody what I was awakening to. I discovered how to let that be true for me and to allow that to be my guide. So to translate that for everyone who's watching, it would be as if you were really reaching deeply inside yourself and finding what is in your heart of hearts that you are so intimidated to follow or to give a voice to or to engage in, and just having enough wherewithal in an instant, in an instant's notice to trust it and to go with it, and to literally allow it to guide you, and to allow this flow to move through your life that is trying to break through and give you the path that you're here to live. So all of that came together for me over a period of years as these awakenings were happening and this integration was occurring. And so I also, in the process of that, had to, in addition to that, break away from a family business that also wasn't getting the depth of this truth and wasn't agreeing with it and supporting it. And I realized I could spend my life trying to convince the outer world about a deep truth that I knew to be a reality. Or I could just turn and go and reveal it and just share it with anyone and everyone who was interested in this information. And so a byproduct of this is, having to make decisions about leaving family businesses, having to make decisions about changing my professional career, making major shifts in my life that were releasing relationships that were not supportive to where I was headed. And to find the gumption to do that is what I know you are all about as well, Sadhvi. And this is why I love it that you've finally put a book together and that you are bringing this out for humanity, because that liberation is our purpose. It's our point for being here. And freedom is how we're supposed to be living. It isn't something that is out there and unattainable and for someone else. It is for every single one of us. Every single one of us is made of this gateway energy that is designed to open as soon as we learn how to give it permission. And so thank you, Sadhvi, for being one who is here as a way shower to offer up such permission and guidance for people about exactly how to do what we're here to do.
Thank you, Sue, for so much wisdom in such a beautiful capsule. And this idea of permission requires trust. It requires us being able to trust our own energies, trust ourselves, trust our place in the universe. And you spoke about the very common places where that's so hard, our careers, our families, our relationships. And I know that people watching today, everybody who's watching is watching this because they want ultimate freedom. Yeah. And so if you had to give one special tool or one special teaching or one special technique of finding that trust to allow ourselves to give ourselves permission, to really be able to navigate that space with family and career and all of that is supporting in some cases that which isn't free in us, what would that tool or technique or teaching be?
Ah, so many. Okay. So I'm going to just share this basic bottom line that we all have to do. And that is to come back onto ourselves. I kind of describe it like when we land here, we sort of splat and our body goes one way, our mind goes another, the breath is out here, and the spirit is just kind of hanging out, waiting to see if it's ever actually going to feel safe to come on into this life and do this thing called being human. And in that splat, we experience ourselves as very dispersed, and we are definitely having a tendency to direct our attention to the outer world for acceptance and approval and connectivity and a sense of belonging. And so what I like for people to do, and this is what I do myself all the time, if I'm ever up leveling and in new territory, I always drop back to the basics. And that is how I sustain this sense of self that allows for this trust to come more easily. What I used to call courage is now just a state of come from. It is something that I experience all the time. So I don't ever have to be courageous. I just do what I'm about to share with everyone. Okay. So imagine that you landed and you just splatted and all your energy just went in every direction. And so we have to gather it back. So I'd like for everyone in this moment, while you're here watching and participating, to imagine that someone just walked through the door that pushes your buttons or triggers you in some way. Or if it's not a person, maybe you're in a situation that you just don't like to be in and it just intimidates you and you feel like you're in shackles that's coming down the road and it's coming up and you're going to have to deal with it. If you could either think of that person or that situation in this moment and notice if this person comes through the door, how your energy just goes over there to them. Or notice if you're thinking about something that's coming down the road that you're going to have to do that you don't want to do, how your energy just goes off into the future. It just splats and disperses. And notice how you feel in your body as if it's happening right now. The person's walking in the room. You're right now in that situation. Your energy is dispersing. Notice how you feel in your body. There is a deep sensation of emptiness, maybe a flutter, maybe a wobble in your energy field. All sorts of things are happening. And now I'm just going to have you to stealthily, secretly, just call your energy back onto you. Just draw it back home, claim it back for you, and take a big belly breath as you do. Just call it in. And the moment that you set your mind with the intention, you're generating a shift of photons, which I work a lot with quantum science and teaching people how thoughts are affecting us on every levels. And I know we're going to have a lot of experience with that today. But we're creating a photon density deep in the core of your being. Draw it back to you. Come on to the self. Claim it back. Notice how that feels in your body as you take a deep breath in. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and drop them down as you take a big belly breath. Just a big belly breath. Let yourself settle back again. Now, bring your attention back onto the person in the doorway. Let's just repeat this pattern for a moment and throw all your energy onto them. Notice how it feels in your body. The moment you vacate the premises, the moment you disempower, you're disconnecting from the central channel core presence that you really are as a stream of consciousness. Notice the emptiness, the wobble, the feebleness, the weakness. Now claim it back. Draw it back onto you. Take a deep belly breath. Just claim it back in. You will feel the energy follow your thought right into the core of your body. Take a big belly breath. Now, I'd like to invite you to breathe up from the earth into the belly. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Roll your eyes upward and exhale from your belly up through your chest, up through your throat, right up through the center of your brain, right behind your eyes where the tension is, and just shoot that breath right out the top of your head. Now, take a deep breath from above your head, a couple of feet above your head. Breathe right down into the center of your brain, through the center of your throat, through the center of your chest, all the way into your belly, as if you're drawing it with the breath right down into the belly. Now, squeeze the muscles in the base of your pelvic bowl, as if you were going to the bathroom and you had to stop the stream instantly. Just give those muscles a squeeze right now. And then exhale and keep them squeezed and just shoot the breath right down into the earth. And now keep them squeezed. Take a breath up from the earth, right back up into your belly. And then exhale right up in between your shoulder blades, through the heart, through the throat, to the center of your brain, and just exhale it right out the top of your head. One last breath in from overhead, right into the center of the brain, the center of the throat, the chest, all the way down into the belly. Big Buddha belly breath. Draw it big, draw it deep into your core. And exhale right into the earth. And then one last inhale up from the earth, right into the belly. And just exhale. Now, what we've just been doing is a central channel breath that activates the most potent aspect of our ability to integrate our power as a multidimensional cosmic being, a presence on this planet. And as we activate that, we automatically instill a sense of, oh, this is who I am. Oh, here I am. Here I am. Squeeze the shoulder blades, drop them down, squeeze those muscles in the base of the pelvic bowl every once in a while. It starts to anchor your energy back in your core. Come back onto the self instead of throwing your energy onto the people or the places or the circumstances of the past or the future, and come right here. Not just intellectually, but come into your body physically with your breath. And allow squeezing these muscles in the base of the pelvic bowl, dropping the shoulder blades together and down, rolling this and finding this channel, this tube down through the central core. I do this all the time. And every single time I do, it allows me to know that I can feel a sense of presence that I don't when I'm splatted. When I gather that energy back onto the self instead of onto some object of my mind, I instantly feel the empowerment that I felt the moment that I lit up in this higher state of consciousness, knowing that every single one of us is made of pure light and power to integrate it. And a byproduct of that is I am free to speak my truth without fear. I am free to step into my projects, knowing that they are meant to be. And that freedom is our birthright. It isn't something we have to earn. It is merely something we must allow. And by coming on to this deep core self, that allowance, that permission that you were speaking of, Sadhvi, is so much easier for me.
So beautiful, Sue.
You know, Sadhvi, what I absolutely love about you, having this extravaganza today and pulling people together in this way is that they're going to get a little slice of you and the vibration that you are bringing and allowing to move through you and out into the world is profound. It is in your writings. It is in your speaking. It is emanating off of you constantly. And in any amount that someone can put themselves in the presence of that, I say that is a giant step toward freedom. So I'm thrilled that you've finally written a book and that you're finally letting it out for everyone. And I'm honored to be in support of that. I think this is a book that people should not only read, but that people should support and share with others, because it isn't just about us freeing ourselves. It's about us paying that forward and allowing other people to know what we're learning as we go. So I celebrate you. I know we're in for a great day with you here today.
Oh, Sue, I'm so filled with gratitude, love, lots of deep, wonderful energy from the breath. And isn't it so beautiful how that which we need to free us is, as those listening, you're going to hear in so many different ways, so many different times today, is something already with us. That technique that Sue just gave of the breath, well, the breath isn't something that we have to buy from a store. It's not something that we have to somehow create out of that which we don't have. It's with us. And that which is within us is that key to that which we're looking for. So it's been such a joy, Sue, to have you. And thank you so much also for the beautiful words about my book. Yes, it did take years to finally get me to sit down and write it, with much prodding from our beloved Marcy and Ariel and other friends. And I'm so glad that I finally did, because I see, as it's come to fruition like this, exactly what you were speaking about, which is that way for it to ripple out and touch the world. So thank you so much for your presence, your words, your teaching, and for being with us today.
Oh, my great, great pleasure. Thank you for bringing us Hollywood to the Himalayas. What a joy.